in a book that's cracked and faded by the years. Remember me in a sanctuary filled with silent prayer, and age to age and heart to heart, bound by grace and peace, child of wonder, child of God, I've remembered you. Remember me. Remember me when the color of a rainbow fills the sky. Remember me when you pray and tears of joy fall from your eyes. And age to age and heart to heart, bound by grace and peace, child of wonder, child of God, I remembered you. Remember me. Remember me when the children coming home from school with smiles. Remember me when they're old enough to teach, old enough to preach, old enough to leave. Age to age and heart to heart, bound by grace and peace, child of wonder, child of God, I remembered you. Remember me.
Age to age and heart to heart, child of wonder, child of God.
Remember me.
Age to age and heart to heart, child of wonder, child of God.
Remember me.
So, continuing on our exploration of ordinary mysticism and considering mysticism as simply our own capacity to have a personal, direct, and intimate experience of the divine. And that we are all capable and equipped, in fact, to do that. So I've been sharing a lot with you from the book by Nearby Star. And she says this as we launch into this conversation about feeling broken open. There are many losses. A beloved pet dies, a relationship breaks up, a friend betrays you, a community rejects you, a serious health diagnosis signals the end of the life you knew. There is the loss of innocence, the loss of financial security, the loss of your active role as a parent when a child grows up and leaves home. Each loss is an invitation to inhabit the sacred space of the unknown. Mystics of all traditions tell us that the unknown is the place where we come to know God. Grief is not a malady to be cured or an error to be corrected. It is the natural response to a life-altering loss. And when we choose to stay present in the fire of suffering rather than turn away, self-medicate or try to fix it through spiritual bypassing, it can become a threshold to sacred space. Our broken hearts break us open to deeper love. Certainly nothing breaks us, aches us, and wakes us like grief. Anybody relate to that? Yeah. And it's natural, of course, to not want to do it. Because at first, it really sucks. It's hard. It's painful. It stops you in your tracks. But I love the idea that this idea of being broken open, right? That what I understand that to be is sort of the wounding experience of being a human being in the world, like why we have to have Memorial Days and, all of these things that are hard to navigate with an open heart. We get sort of guarded, we build some walls around there. And so to be broken open is to be made available to the fullness of life. And if we believe, as we say we do, that God is love, then it's really up to us to stay open to that love, to have that love be available to and through us even when it's painful. And that is really the other side of love. Grief is the other side of love. It is the cost, if you will. We grieve what we have loved the most. I love what Mirabai talks about, how our loved ones often become saints after they die. A miraculous thing, she says, sometimes happens after our loved ones have left this world. They turn into saints and we spontaneously begin to worship them. Maybe not a saint in the conventional sense, but they become luminous, unconditionally loving. They pervade the fibers of our hearts and deepen the way we perceive the world. The veils of personality have dropped and true essence has been revealed. Some might call this magical thinking, but I say it's the opposite. When we see the beauty and goodness of our loved ones who have died, we are seeing reality. It's harder to glimpse the real behind the trappings of character quirks when the person is alive. They could be boring or mean, no doubt about it. But it seems our loved ones behave much better on the other side. Now that they are no longer confined to bodies and egos, their presence expands like the warmth of the sun as it lifts above the horizon. We feel them everywhere, and they bless us. And that is the experience, I think, that we can miss out on if we're not able to be with our grief, right? If just even getting close to that experience shuts us down. We also get shut down to the ways in which our love continues on in this experience. Mirabai says that once we have exhausted ourselves in the fruitless effort to keep grief at bay, we collapse into the arms of the darkness and let it have its way with us. And we begin to befriend the mystery, So that's the connection to the sacred. We begin to befriend the mystery. We begin to let it be okay that we, take a breath, are not in control, that we don't know everything, that we can't be sure how everything will go and who will go first and how it will be, right? We begin to trust that whatever happens, we have the capacity to endure. And not only to endure, but to grow, to expand. I love that. I forget where I heard that quote, that love outlives life. It does. And that's often, I'm a little, I don't know if I'm weird, but don't comment on that. As I have, become fulfilling this role, I get called to do weddings and memorials, and I much prefer memorials. Because weddings, everyone's all in a tizzy. And I gotta not, everyone, we don't want anything to go wrong, or the mother of the bride will have a fit, or whatever. But at memorials, they're just like, help us, connect us, show us. And so it's my job then, and I believe it full-heartedly, that though this is painful, this loss that I'm leading them through in this service, that love remains. And that is what continues on with each one of us. Each one of us in this room have lost someone. And we still experience them. We experience what we learned with them, how we loved with them, how they loved us. So it remains with us. It is the ultimate legacy of love. And so loss also, I think for me, it gives you that pause to really consider what matters most. You stop messing around with the stuff that doesn't serve you and that causes you grief, or not grief because you're grieving, but that causes you to play small. And you stop engaging in relationships that are unhealthy. Or you start paying attention and healing relationships so that you can be in good relationship, because you know that life is precious. And it also begins to make you think about, what is your legacy? What are you leaving in the world? Not just certainly with your family, but with the world, with everyone who comes in contact with you. You ever go to those funerals and they're just packed and no one said, this guy didn't say a bad word about anybody, and he did this and he did that and he changed the world, and I'm like, oh, I better get busy. I'm sharing with you today a modern mystic that Mirabai talks about in her book that I've learned about before, and I've forgotten about him, Father Gregory Boyle, who's done amazing work in Los Angeles. He's the founder of Homeboy's industry. For over 30 years, standing as a beacon of hope in Los Angeles to provide training and support to formerly gang-involved youth and previously incarcerated people, allowing them to redirect their lives and become contributing members of our community. I love that quote that he has on the website, that gang violence is about a lethal absence of hope. And if you hear about, he talks at a lot of commencements, gives a lot of commencement speeches, and talks about his experience of, as this white Jesuit priest dealing with these hardened gang members. And how if you can crack into that, what they have not experienced often is love and belonging. That's what they get in those gangs. Similar to what happens with some of our youth that go into white nationalist groups and stuff. It's a longing to belong. and it's a violent one. Mirabai says, my friend Greg Boyle has buried 258 kids and counting. And he bears daily witness to the deepest shadows of the human condition. Greg says, God is love, yes, but that's not so much. God is love, yes, but that's not so much about how God is as to where God is. It's geographical. God lives in the loving. That's how powerful we are. That's how we express and bring the divine out of some far off place right here, right now. The more you love, the more love is amplified. Love never stops loving. That is the mystical life. Greg goes on to say that God does not have a range of responses. I like this, I don't like that, I don't like them. It's a singular response. I will carry you no matter what. I will carry you no matter what. There is a place and a space within you that knows that, yes? And what we're doing here is making time to connect with that place and that space. I will carry you no matter what. The motto of Homeboy Industries is there is no us versus them. There is only us. And I encourage you to look him up. There's some great videos. He's quite funny. I don't know if I can say the one that I love the most. When he was first getting into it, he was meeting with a young homeboy, and he was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't find a job. And he said, at some point, we're going to have to address the fact that you have F off tattooed on your forehead. It might be working against you. But mostly his stories are, they fill his eyes with tears at the restoration of hope that he sees when someone believes in these people and gives them an opportunity. They formed a bakery, Homeboy's Bakery, so the tagline there is moving, you don't sell heroin anymore, you bake bread. And they've have a community around it. They're a community bringing this service to their community by baking bread. And the latest one is they've started a school and an industry there. I don't know, it wouldn't be an industry. A place where you can come have your dog groomed, and they teach the gang members how to do it. And it's called Puppy Fades. And so, some of these guys, they do all that fades in their hair, and they put really cool patterns and stuff. And so the guy that's on the blog there, his dog is a little white dog that he's put all these dark fades in, and he looks so cool. He's like, I think I'm going to win an artist competition. Anyway, the point is, I was trying to think of, here we're talking about Memorial Day. We're talking about this big, heavy thing called war and violence. And sometimes it feels like, what can we do, right? And then there are people like this. This is violence. And he's met them with nothing but love and compassion. And sometimes they don't make it. That's the 258 people that he's buried. They shoot each other. They it doesn't always find them in time. But it's a good reminder, I think, for our capacity to be a beacon for peace in our own lives, in our own minds. I included in your bulletins a pledge sheet that came my way by a friend. I've actually studied with her and learned from her. If you don't have them, I have a slide for it, and there's some extras out at the welcome desk. But I wanted to give us something to think about. And I feel really strongly about it, like if we want to do something different so that people aren't losing their lives in gangs or sending their children off to war, like what can we do right here, right now, every day? And so this came to me, and I thought it was beautiful. And so I want to take some time reviewing it with you and, ask us to consider it. You don't have to do it. But I gave you something so that you could see it and put it where you remember and live into it a little bit. And I love that this was inspired by the work of our ancestors in the civil rights movement, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference founded by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And again, there's a legacy moment. We have MLK Day, we celebrate it, we remember the great works he did. And then we go to our barbecue, and that's fine. I love barbecues, don't get me wrong. But how can every day be all these days? Earth Day. How can every day we think about what we're doing to the earth? Every day we think about the peace that we're embodying or not. So, I'd like to go through this with you. And so it starts out, I hereby pledge myself, my person and body, to the nonviolent movement. Therefore, I will keep the following 13 agreements. Number 1, if you're so called, will you read them with me? Number 1, meditate daily on the teachings of Christ consciousness. What do we mean by that? Connecting with what we call, in unity frequently, and it's not just unity, Christ consciousness, is the awareness that, yes, the person known as Jesus of Nazareth fully demonstrated, but is not contained to him, demonstrated it actually for us to know our capacity to live as though we are one with this divine. Not separate, not left out, nothing to do to earn it. And so is everyone else. That's the kicker, isn't it? And all of creation is imbued with divine intelligence. So we take time every day to connect with that realization, which expands us and connects us. Number 2. Remember always that the nonviolent movement on Mother Earth seeks justice and reconciliation, not victory. Ooh. That's a learning curve that I think we're finally getting. No one else has to die so that we can live more. There is enough freedom for the whole world. Number 3, walk and talk in the manner of love, for the divine is love. And that's what I tried to share from Mirabai this morning and from Father Richard Rohr. So, Greg Boyle. Too many fathers. That love, we often just sort of romanticize it, but in every way are we coming from a consciousness of love. And our Unity co-founder, Charles Fillmore, spoke of love as the great harmonizing attribute among humanity, harmonizing us together for greater and greater good. As we harmonize ourselves through that divine, or through that Christ consciousness awareness, and then we harmonize with each other. It's a lot of harmony. Number 4, pray daily to be used by the divine in order that all beings might be free. Small and large. You don't have to start a Homeboy Industries, but every day we have opportunities, right? Number 5, sacrifice personal will in order that all beings might be free. Number 6. Oh, shoot. Sacrifice personal will in order that all beings might be free. Yeah. The way I'm feeling into that is sometimes the way we want things to be, the way we think things should be, relies on other people being in certain limited roles. I mean, I just think of the convenience that we live with. You know, we've got to have everything to go and in plastic and in, oh God, don't remind me of what's happening in California. Do you know about this? Shouldn't have said it. I'm going to freak you all out and I don't know all the facts, but we were at a barbecue with Heidi's family yesterday and her mom was all worried about it. It's in Orange County and it's a big building that contains all this poisonous stuff from how they make plastic, and it's not regulating its temperature, so it's going to burst. Yeah. I try to bring you up and then I bring you down. Number 6. Thank you. Yes. So yeah, I mean, and that can go, even in the moment with your kids, where it's like, no, because I said so, and their freedom is in that moment. Now, sometimes it's necessary because they're going to cause harm to themselves, but because it's just easier for you in that moment to say, and their freedom is compromised. Yeah. Number 6, thank you, Janet. Observe with both friend and adversary the ordinary rules of courtesy. Yeah, we don't need to go there. We don't need to be catty and icky. I've certainly done it, and I never feel good after it. I know better. So, number 7, seek to perform regular service for others and for the world. So that is a way that we recognize our connection. We stay in the flow of giving and receiving. Oh, did I mention there's spring cleanup today? If you want to help us out in the garden today, we would love it. And that is what some of you are called to do here. When you serve here, that's part of that give and take that you are participating in. Number 8, refrain from the violence of fist, tongue, technology, and heart. So she's had to add from MLK days, right? Technology now is how we go ballistic on each other. Don't do that. Number 9, intend to be in good spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health. I spoke to Heather. I said, is that a typo or did you mean emotional? And she clarified that that's from her wisdom tradition that she has learned to hyphenate emotion because emotions need to be able to move. And when they're not, we often get sick. It causes internal harm. We know this, right? So And that seems like, oh, okay, that's obvious. I'll intend to do that. But that is, I'm finding, a hard one. To take care of yourself. Anybody else prioritize that? Right, it's like, no, you got to be there for others. You got to give. You got to. And it's even deeper than that. It goes into a deep worth thing. So it's worth working on that. Ba-da-ba. No, I meant that seriously. To dig into why. I'm currently digging into why I have just not cared that my body hurts, and I'm gonna just keep doing it. My chiropractor's like, how's that going? I said, well, I'm back. You tell me. So, to recognize if we want to participate in the goodness of life and certainly to be a presence of peace, we need to be in good standing with ourselves in all the ways that are listed there. Number 10. Follow the directions of the nonviolent movement, come what may. That was a crucial piece, as you can imagine, in the civil rights movement. As violence was coming at people, do not return the violence. Because what? An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. It will not do anything but cause more harm. So, in the face of violence, can we be a place and a space for peace? And I think that is something that is taught and learned, because it's very easy to get triggered just by someone cutting you off, let alone some of the things that can escalate that this movement was referring to. Number 11, ground yourself through daily communion with Mother Earth. We've been talking about that at some point. What series were we doing? Maybe, I don't remember. But how Earth herself helps us, grounds us, absorbs some of our pain, helps us transmute it. So yeah, just last week I was like, it's harder to do because there's concrete everywhere and we're all in cars and we're in buildings all day, but get out into nature. Number 12, practice radical joy. So much information about how important joy is to keep us balanced, to keep us also tuned in to the beauty and the majesty of life itself. And number 13, gather in beloved community, which is really what I have been aspiring to do with you here. To make this a beloved community where people, no matter who you are, where you come from, what you look like, who you love, what you've lost, where you've gone to church or not, you can be here and we see the truth of you. And we hold each other up in that. And we hold each other accountable in that. And we'll be doing more with that in the fall. Doing some community work around what that means. I was recently on a call and they were talking about, church is a big family. And they said, yeah, we don't want that anymore. Families are notoriously dysfunctional. We want a conscious community where we say this is how we speak to each other. And when we don't, we clean it up. And we're not having a parking lot conversation every other Sunday about who did what. It's mostly me, I'm sure. Right? We're practicing good communication. So there's stuff that goes into it, and it's certainly why we're learning about it and practicing it here. It affects and impacts your whole life. You do it at home, you do it in the workplace, you do it with your in-laws. I love my in-laws. This is being recorded. Okay, I do. But in those challenging relationships. So I encourage you to take this, sign it if you want, put it somewhere where you might be most likely to need it, where you get tested or triggered or challenged. And let's consider how we are actively being a place and a space for peace in the world. Heather's you can go to her Patreon. She does transmissions and teaches about things. You're welcome to check her out. And she's actively working on this Imagine Peace Promise project where she's, there's a lot of research that talks about change is seeded for 7 generations. It takes 7 generations for this sort of seed of peace to germinate. So that's why you can feel like this is never going to happen. It might not happen in our lifetime, but it still matters that we are seeding it and planting it and watering it. So I'll just invite you to take a breath as we have a moment of meditation. I know that went a little long. Thank you for following along. So ring the singing bowl that connects us from our head to our heart as you take a breath. Feeling your back supported, maybe sitting up tall. Feeling your feet on the ground, connecting in our minds with Mother Earth. Feeling that stabilizing presence. And taking a breath into our heart space, where we connect with this idea of being broken open. As a portal, as an opening to connect with Spirit more fully, to connect with the power of love, even when it hurts, knowing that it is deepening us. So just invite you to take a moment to connect with your own experience right now of grief or loss or heaviness. Welcoming it, not judging it, not resisting it, not fearing it, knowing that it's moving. It wants to move through you. And collectively, we can hold the suffering of our planet in that place. Invite you to open up to this simple prayer offered to Quan Yin, who I've spoken of, the goddess of mercy and compassion in the Buddhist tradition. May this suffering serve to awaken compassion. So whether it is your heart that is suffering, or if you're holding any of the events going on in our country or our world in your heart, maybe you just feel alone. Whatever it is, hold this with me. May this suffering serve to awaken compassion. May this suffering serve to awaken compassion. And that compassion, of course, dwells within each one of us, connecting us with the power and the presence of divine love within and all around us. Connecting us with our ancestors and our lost loved ones, love that outlives life. May we be open to the signs and the wonders and the synchronicities when we tune in. And may we, above all else, pledge allegiance to the power of divine love, working its way through our hearts and minds, through our families, our communities, our country, and our world. And for this opportunity to remember our capacity to let suffering awaken more compassion. We are grateful. And so it is. Just real quick, for those of you in the book group, I skipped ahead a chapter, you might notice, but we're still doing the same two chapters, 6 and 7. So next week, we'll be exploring beloved community together. Thank you.
I have often dreamed of a far-off place where a hero's welcome would be waiting for me, where the crowds will cheer when they see my face, and a voice keeps saying, this is where I'm meant to be. I'll be there someday, and I can go the distance. I will find my way. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. When I go the distance, I'll be right where I belong. Down an unknown road to embrace my fate. Though that road may wander, it will lead me to you. And 1,000 years would be worth the wait. It might take a lifetime, but somehow I'll see it through. And I won't look back. No, I will go the distance, and I'll stay on track. No, I won't accept defeat. It's enough. till I find